Hello and welcome back to another veg-inspired video. Today I want to show you a very easy chickpea basil burger. This burger has been on my list of burgers to create and try, and I'm really excited that we finally nailed it, and I'm really excited to show you how to make it. Okay, so what we're going to do is in our food processor, we are going to add 1 can of drained and rinsed chickpeas. We're going to add 1 cup of grated carrots. Now these carrots you can grate in your food processor. This was about 2 large carrots. You can also buy grated carrots at the grocery store to make this even faster. Then we're going to add half a cup of old-fashioned rolled oats plus 2 additional tablespoons. So really you could say a heaping cup of, well, maybe not 2 heaping of a cup. Then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of miso paste. So miso is a fermented soybean paste, and it adds this great salty umami. You can find it, if you don't eat soy, you could get a chickpea miso. You can get it in red miso, white miso. The lighter the miso, the more mild the flavor. I'm using white miso, but this is really good with red miso as well. We're also going to add 1 tablespoon of tahini. Tahini is a sesame paste, so it's sesame seeds. Obviously, if you don't eat sesame seeds or sesame, you could use, you want to use something else, you could use a mild nut butter, you could use sunflower butter or almond butter even. This really just helps with a good binder. Then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then for this is kind of a, I'm not going to say it's a secret ingredient, but it's a special ingredient. This is poultry seasoning. So I developed this recipe to kind of mimic like a chicken burger. So I wanted to have that nostalgic kind of poultry smell, like poultry seasoning smell. So it's the sage, the thyme, those flavors. So we're gonna add half a teaspoon of that. And we're going to add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. This is gonna give it that like savory, buttery flavor. We're not looking for a cheesy flavor, so we're only gonna add a couple of tablespoons. If you don't like nutritional yeast, you can leave it out. Now, the key to a really good veggie burger is minimally processing the ingredients. So we're gonna pulse this in our food processor 10 times, then we're gonna add in the special ingredient, the basil. So after your 10 pulses, you're just gonna kind of scrape it around, make sure that there's not pockets of, whole chickpeas left. Everything looks, it's not fully processed, but everything looks well combined. And then we're gonna add in our basil. Now I buy the basil, if I can buy it like this, where it's already in a bouquet, it's so easy to just store it on the counter in a cup of water with my produce bag on top. That's my #1 way of storing it. If you can't, these were actually in clamshells. And so I just took them out, cut the ends, and put them in the water. So I bought these about 4 days ago, and so they're still good. Basil tends to be one of those herbs that perishes pretty quick. So if you're lucky enough to be able to grow your own basil, this is a great recipe if you need to trim out the basil and get a nice big, you've pruned it and now you've got a big batch of basil and you're looking for something to do. This chickpea basil burger is perfect for you. So let me know, are you a basil fan? Do you like basil? Let me know in the comments, because basil is one of my favorite herbs, and when I smell it, I just get super excited. So I'm super excited about this recipe for you. So with the basil, we're just gonna use the leaves, and we are going to pick them out. And we're gonna do about a cup. This is a lot of basil. This is a basil burger. It's a chickpea basil burger. It's gonna pair really well with, a flavored vegan mayo or a cashew aioli. We're gonna share it with the sun-dried tomato aioli. And then we bake these burgers, but you could partially bake them and then throw them on your grill. And I want about a cup. This was 2 of the small clamshells. Okay, so it's about a cup. Not totally firmly packed, but it's not pushing down a lot. And then I'm just going to distribute it in here. Now, because over processing your burgers is a big no for these plant-based burgers, because you don't want them to get mushy, You want to pulse this about 5 to 7 more times, not exceeding 20 total pulses. And what we're going to do is we're going to work the basil. We're going to pulse these so that the basil works into the chickpea burger mix. Now, if you need to stop and scrape down your sides, separate any chunks of basil, if your basil didn't distribute well, you might want to move it around or stir it. Like I have this one giant leaf. I'm not going to want to bite into him, so I'm going to want to get, you know, him incorporated, just looking for any basil that may be still whole. So I am at 16 total pulses. I'm going to pulse it 2 more times. But there's still a whole basil leaf, so I'm going to throw him down and pulse it 1 more time after I give it a stir. And I want you to kind of know the texture. So the texture is, it's pattyable. It's, you know, it has good moisture. You could make it into a patty. We don't want it to be over soft because then it'll be mush. It smells so good. I'm taking it out of the food processor so that you can see it, right? Here's my mixture. You don't have to. You could just put it into a clump in the food processor and divide it into 4 pieces and call it a day. If you know, want to make sliders, you could do this into 8 pieces. If you want it to be perfect, you could get the scale out. I do not need it to be super perfect, but I do want to make sure that the burgers are fairly even so that they have an even baking time. So while you're doing this step where you're pattying them up, again, you're just forming them into a nice burger patty like this. I like to make a slight indent in the middle of the burger so that it cooks evenly and so that the burger middle isn't fatter than the rest. While you're doing this, you can preheat your oven or air fryer. So if you're gonna bake these in the oven, you're going to bake them at 350 for 20 minutes and you're gonna flip them after 10 minutes, so halfway through. If you're making them in your air fryer, if your air fryer has, you know, can accommodate a burger patty like this, you are going to cook them at 325 for about 18 to 20 minutes, flipping them halfway through. So again, the air fryer, because it's more of a convection, more of an air circulating setting, you're gonna do it about 25 degrees less than you would in a baking oven. So this allows you, maybe you don't wanna turn the oven on in the summertime. This allows you to just do a quick air fryer recipe and they're great. Okay. So as you can see, they're staying together nicely. They're pattying up nicely. These could easily be made ahead. You could bake them ahead of time and then take them to a picnic and have somebody throw them on the, you know, throw them on the grill before they put the animal products on. You could, you know, probably eat them cold, right? Like once they're cooked, you could probably just eat it, you know, right out of the cooler because it's kind of like a chickpea patty or fritter. So they're beautiful, right? They're beautiful color. They smell amazing. So we're gonna get them baking and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so now we're gonna put the burgers. Now, if I were baking these in the oven, I would put them on parchment lined baking sheet. But in the air fryer, I'm just gonna put them on the non-stick grate. So you have 4 in there. And then they're gonna go in for 10 minutes and then I'm gonna flip them over and bake them for an additional 10 minutes. Okay, to pair with this, we are going to make a delicious sun-dried tomato cashew garlic aioli. We're going to use our cashew garlic aioli base, which is half a cup of cashews, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, 1 garlic clove, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, and 1/3 to 1/2 cup of water, depending on the consistency that you're looking for. And to that, we're going to add 3 or 4 pieces of sun-dried tomatoes. So these are probably, this is 4 pieces. So it'd be about a bigger tablespoon. Yeah, and then you can add a pinch of salt and pepper to your cashew aioli as well. If you don't want to do cashew aioli, you could easily pair this with a VegInspired or your favorite tofu mayo. You could also put some mashed avocado on it. John really liked this when we served it with a little bit of hot sauce. So, you know, whatever burger toppings you love, go for it. While the burgers finish up baking, let's go ahead and prep our burger buns. Now I'm using Dave Killer Buns white, the great white Dave's Killer Buns. You could use an Ezekiel muffin, English muffins, those are great as a burger bun. You could use another whole grain or whole wheat burger bun that you can find. Whole Foods has really good organic buns that are vegan. So I'm gonna start with about a teaspoon of the aioli on the bottom. So we have our bun prepped. Now I picked up some nice farm fresh lettuce that I'm gonna add to my burger. You could also put some sliced onion or some thinly sliced shallots. You could add a sliced tomatoes, maybe some home fresh cucumber pickles. You know, not super dilly, but maybe just a light pickled cucumber, that might work. Pickled onions would be really great on this burger. Maybe even some thinly sliced roasted red peppers. You could add, if you really love basil, you could do a pesto sauce. That would amp up the basil a lot. You could put a slice of vegan mozzarella cheese on this. Now we're not gonna add cheese, we're just gonna use the cashew aioli, but you could add a piece of, you know, vegan mozzarella would be really delicious on this, or a mozzarella cheese sauce style topping. You could put avocado on this one. I think that would do really well. Yeah, so, you know, test it with your favorite toppings. I'm a burger lover. I love my good old-fashioned lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, and some ketchup, and some VegInspired or cashew aioli, usually cashew aioli. A ranch might go well on this if you had a vegan ranch or a cashew ranch. Okay, so our burgers are cooked. Now what you're looking for is a slightly golden brown, and they should be slightly golden brown on both sides. Okay, so we have a nice golden brown burger, both sides. Now, I've already put the cashew mayo on the bottom, the sun-dried tomato aioli. We're gonna put the burger right on top. And then we're going to put some more of our aioli, sun-dried tomato aioli, right on top of the burger. And then our lettuce. And then our bun. I did warm up the buns a little bit. I just tossed them in the air fryer with that for just a few seconds to get them nice and little toasty, little steamy. You guys, look at this. So we have a nice, they smell so good. Nice burger, nice chickpea basil burger. And in good veg-inspired fashion, we have to give it a taste. What I love about this burger is that rich basil flavor. I mean, it's so sweet, and then the poultry seasoning just adds that hint of, am I eating roast chicken? You're not eating roast chicken, it's chickpea and some carrots, but it just has that hint of what you recall, you know, a chickeny burger would kind of taste like. So let me know down below if you're gonna try our tasty chickpea burger. If you like this recipe, you might also like our black bean burger. I'll put the link for that recipe up there. Until next time, eat more plants, live veg inspired, and have a great day. Bye. Now we're gonna add in a cup, whoops,